Hey everyone. So in this video we're going to take another look at the DJI Ronin-S. If you want to see that first video, check it out on Bite Size YouTube channel in the description below this video.
So I just found out my laptop. I wanted to figure out how to do like text-to-speech, speech to text in Pages, which is like the Mac version of Microsoft Word. And you can't really do that, but you can get it to speak back to you. So I kind of figured I'd use that, and I'll probably do all my intros like that from now on. But in this video, we are talking about the DJI Ronin-S. Actually, I already did another video on this piece of gear on a different YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. That's on Bite Size channel. You can go check it out there. And in that video, I kind of talk about my thoughts on why I got that gimbal in the first place, what kind of led me to actually purchase it. But in this video, I've actually, the past few months, I've had a lot of, actually not a whole lot of opportunity to use it, but I did go for a long stretch of 2 weeks on my summer vacation, and I use it literally almost every day, all day, every day. And I feel like I have some really good feedback to give based on my experience with it. What are some benefits of using it? And yeah, this video is going to be pretty positive because I do love this gimbal. It's very useful for a particular style of filmmaking. It's not going to be good for everybody. At the end of the video, I'll kind of get into also some drawbacks of the Ronin-S as well. So let's take a look at the Ronin-S. Okay, so first thing we'll look at is creative shots that you can get with the DJI Ronin-S. So of course this thing is meant for motion shots, when the person holding the camera and the Ronin-S is walking or running or what have you. And it's meant to get smooth shots despite the footsteps. And you should just note, like, for all of these creative shots, these are all kind of on the fly. This Ronin-S allows you to, you don't really have to plan things out. You don't have to like set up a whole dolly track. You don't have to set up like a slider on a tripod. You can go out without, a care in the world, without any plans. And a lot of these creative motion shots that you think of on the spot, you can get because you have this really versatile gimbal. And that's kind of, that's the benefit and a big plus of having gimbals, but especially with this thing because it's really easy to set up and everything. So, but yeah, let's just go through some of the creative shots you can get with this thing. Number one is following people. Always looks pretty cool over over their shoulder. So you can use this thing to basically walk with people and kind of get those cool creative shots where you're kind of getting into their world and following them as they go about their day or what have you. So following shots, very cool, very smooth. Second type of creative shot I found myself getting a lot with this is low to the ground shots. Whether you're following somebody's feet or you're just trying to get the texture of the location that you're in, of the ground, and really in touch with whatever environment that you're in. Another type of shot is a crane shot. So, typically, like if you're on a Hollywood production, they would set up a huge crane, almost like you'd see at a construction site, with a camera on the end of it, kind of going up and down and around, getting all these kind of flying through the air shots, pivoting from a point on the ground, right? You can kind of get a similar effect. Obviously you can't, put the camera, 20 feet away in crane, but the length of your arms, you can kind of go down from the ground and up. And those crane shots really add a lot of, production value and get your videos that professional look. Another cool shot that the Ronin-S allows you to get that you wouldn't really otherwise be able to get with just your hands is on the fly time lapse. So typically, when you do time lapses, it's kind of like a planned thing and you have to take like a big tripod out with you. I mean, those little tiny tripods can work too. But again, a big plus of the Ronin-S is it allows you to be spontaneous. And if the clouds look amazing, you can just set it down and the stabilizers, keep the camera locked and steady. I will say, however, check out this time lapse. You can kind of see a bit of motion in the camera. It's kind of waving around a bit and you can kind of tell that the gimbal isn't completely locked off in a very windy location in this video. So that, did affect it. Probably if there's no wind, it wouldn't have been as bad. But again, you can even resolve this in post. It's not that much motion, but definitely beats time lapse with your hands. That's just not doable. So, and also the Ronin-S app also has capability to help you set up a time lapse video as well. So pretty cool there. And then, lastly, the Ronin-S kind of just inspires you to get just random creative shots, whatever that is, things that you wouldn't really think of if you just had your hands. So, you know, just the fact that you know you can get smooth motion in a variety of ways with this thing kind of allows you to think differently, spontaneously, and gets you some pretty cool creative shots. All right, so that's kind of the first point of the Ronin-S. What makes it so great is just all these different types of shots you can get, and the fact that really the selling point for this thing is that the fact that you can get them spontaneously, and this thing takes like 5 minutes to set up. And that kind of brings me on to my second point, the efficiency of this thing. You know, it's a pretty quick balance, and you're off and running. If you compare that to the Ronin like M, which is a much kind of bigger setup thing, but gives you similar effects, that thing takes a lot longer to set up. There's more that goes into it. So I think a big plus for the Ronin-S is that compared to a lot of other motorized gimbals out there, it's a really quick setup. And I mean, the battery is super efficient, is super long lasting too. I believe it's a 12-hour battery life. So you can pretty much go out for the day and not have to worry about switching batteries. So really cool, very efficient gimbal, really easy to use. It kind of makes you, it's not one of those things you look at it, you're like, oh, I don't want to use that, it's gonna be too much work. It's like, no, that's like, you know, you're not afraid to use this thing. It's not gonna take up too much time. So very efficient. Number 3 is a pretty simple point, but also something I noticed as I was out running around is that you can quickly get static shots that are level. So, you know, if you're a filmmaker, you'll find yourself constantly, you know, if you have a tripod and you want the static tripod shot with no movement, you constantly have to level based on the ground that you're in. And this thing, you know, you can set it down, double tap the button, and, you know, it knows what level is based on your calibration. So it just levels out in like half a second. Whereas a tripod, you know, you're either changing the lengths of all the legs, or if at least on a tripod you have like a ball head, that really helps with getting a quick leveling. So that's kind of another step up, but nothing compares to just setting the Ronin down, double tapping the button, and automatically getting a quick horizon, right? And if you're running around with like trying to get like a family vacation like I was doing, and you got kids running around and stuff, and you just want to, oh, wait a second, let me get this shot, and you want to get a nice static shot, you can just double tap, horizon is perfectly level. Pretty simple thing, but it actually, if you're running around outside doing like documentary style or travel style filmmaking, it was actually super handy, and it is definitely something I noticed that was awesome about the Ronin-S. Okay, next, this thing is actually like not too heavy. I think a lot of people, that's one of their main concerns with this thing is, you know, how heavy is it? Is my back just gonna be, and arms just gonna be killing me after like, you know, 20 minutes of using this? And I can say that, you know, I used this for 2 weeks straight, almost every day, and I was fine. I mean, I'm sure I got tired at times, but it was never like, oh my God, my back is killing me. This thing is not that bad. It weighs 4.1 pounds just on its own. Granted, I was using the GH4 with this thing, which is a very light camera. GH4, I got some notes here. So Ronin-S, 4.1 pounds. GH4 is just over 1 pound. The mirrorless lens I was using is like 0.6 pounds. So total, that's like 5.6 pounds, right? So it's not too bad. Basically, the heaviness is not a factor. As long as, you know, you're not an old, frail person or whatever, it's not too bad. There were times, however, I put like a 70 to 200 Canon zoom lens on this, and that lens itself is 3.2 pounds. So that brings the total up to like just over 8 pounds. And that was actually quite heavy. I would not have wanted to shoot all day with that. But if you're using the Ronin-S with a mirrorless camera, which are typically smaller cameras, and mirrorless lenses, which are smaller lenses, it's really not that bad. And, you know, going up from there, it might become an issue where you actually need to put this thing down because of, you know, the pain of carrying it. But with my mirrorless camera, it was totally fine. Okay, and lastly, one of the big things I noticed while using this, again, my experience from using the Ronin-S, is the bounce. So that was one of my biggest concerns with the Ronin-S before using it, was how much, you know, bounce just from walking is it gonna be. This thing does smooth out like really quick jitters and stuff, but the walking bounce, like your whole body is moving, it can't get rid of that very well. I mean, it can get rid of it very well. It's just the motors aren't really built to completely remove that, right? So there is some walking bounce there, but I'm happy to say it's there sometimes, but it's passable. And I mean, you can check out these shots. Like sometimes you can notice it more than others. You definitely have to put, you know, conscious effort into your walks to keep yourself, you know, not bouncing as much as you can. But there is definitely a little bit of bounce in the shots. But again, if you combine this with the warp stabilizer in post, that can help somewhat. So, you know, I would say basically, I'm pretty happy with the walking balance, how much it's reduced with the Ronin-S. But I will say it is there somewhat. Okay, and now for the drawbacks. Really not too much to draw back from this. One thing is, and I don't know if this is just because of my lack of experience with it, is it would kind of catch up to itself sometimes. I'd be whipping it around, and sometimes the motors would kind of jerk around a bit. So, and the whole point of this thing is to get smooth shots, so that's definitely counterproductive there. And I did find that happening from time to time. There is a setting where you can kind of just let the camera go, and it keeps it steady, but you no longer have control over it, and that kind of resolves that issue. But if you want the camera to just stay locked in the direction where you move the gimbal, then it does kind of jerk sometimes. So that would be one drawback. Maybe, software updates, or maybe I'm just not having my settings set up correctly in the app, but that would be another thing. And that's about it. There is not really any other drawback I see to this thing. And if you're somebody who's kind of traveling light, either doing like travel videos or any kind of run and gun thing, this thing can definitely work for that. But generally, I'm very happy with the Ronin-S. This thing is amazing. It's built very well. It's such a strong, sturdy thing. And yeah, it's just awesome. So I hope you like this review of the Ronin-S. Definitely tell me if there's anything you would have liked to hear about it that I maybe didn't touch on. Feel free to comment on the video. I'm hoping to put out more YouTube videos and stuff, so definitely subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and I'll see you around. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.